The Corporate Files. The Grid, Part 3. All is mental. What you are is an idea, and that idea is highly capable of generating thought. But thought is itself a level removed from the idea that you are. The real idea of you, the real you, does not even need thought. But in the avatar realms, identity thought actually acts as causal. It's a causal function. And what human avatars call experience is actually effect. So the identity thoughts cause the effect, and it's important to understand that when you are dealing with these identity thoughts, you are not engaging a direct line to reality, self. You're engaging with one level removed from reality. So how do we even talk about thoughts? Well, we use words to talk about those thoughts. So words then are symbols of thoughts, and thoughts are one level removed from reality. So what does that make words? Words now become two levels removed from reality. So keep that perspective in mind as you're reading and listening, because what might happen is at times the words might seem sticky, and we want to keep you loose and not stuck. So it's important to understand where words fit in the larger equation. Now, I wrote a book some years back that is still out there on Amazon. It's called How to Be Right About Everything. It will give you the basics of right-minded thinking. Consider supporting your goal here. Now, the grid is the central identity thought constellation, and each individuated awareness point, each avatar, occupies an aspect of the grid. Within each aspect, of course, there is a seeming uniqueness to the identity thought constellation, and that uniqueness can be described in all sorts of ways. There are many ways, therefore, of looking at an avatar's identity thought constellation. What we do is look at the apparent stuck points and work essentially to release them. But to release them completely requires our joint will. You sort of really need to be a passive participant in this process, but you do have to engage, as in discipline your mind to engage the mind yoga videos, to read and listen. Will get your mind completely connected to the ideas. Your mind and your will naturally realign to self. They are far more powerful than you might realize at this point. It will happen for you and by you. This is a reference to the power of your mind after it understands the difference between right and wrong mindedness. This is what makes it hard for most avatars because every avatar is trained to depend on what it thinks is going on what it thinks is its guide. It is used to listening to ego data sensory points, okay? Ego gets all its information from the external. Well, what's the external but a reflection of the internal? If ego is the identity in the internal, are you going to be seeing in the external evidence of reality or what your ego's preferences are? Senses provide data for the avatars, but in fact, all they actually do is convince the avatars that what they're doing is real. That's really all they do, nothing else. Now, is it real? Absolutely not. But it does feel real. And therein lies the purpose of your senses and your ego. So are your senses cause or effect? They are effect. Ego identity being their cause. But we've already learned that changing the effect changes nothing, costs you a lot, but merely presents you with the appearance of change. You've got to, of course, be willing to undo ego identity thoughts, to unlearn them. You've got to be willing to see beyond them. And remember, this is very important. Will is everything here. It is your will and your mind you will now learn to engage.